evangelical exposure, I suppose, that I had as a Baptist has made for really very practical lay conversations over the course of my time as a Christian. In the same spirit, I'd like to understand the Catholic perspective of this question that I have, which is, if Lutherans believe that the wine and bread is truly the body and blood of Christ, is not, a metaphor or any type of other interpretation, if someone were to come to you and say, then why doesn't it taste like human blood when you drink that wine? Or why doesn't it taste like skin, a body, if you will, of that meal? And I'm curious to see how we'll answer it with our own doctrine, but I wanted to hear the Catholic perspective on that as well. And I appreciate the call, and I'll take my answer off air. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate the question. So, of course, Lutherans and Catholics give different answers to this question. It's not the same answer, and we have very different accounts of the manner in which Christ is present in the Blessed Sacrament. Let me give you the Catholic answer first, and then if I have time, I'll talk about the Lutheran answer. So, from what Catholics teach is that the bread and wine are changed into the body and blood of Christ, but not in a normal mode. I mean, they're obviously not present in a normal mode because I don't see body and blood. I see bread and wine. And it's not body and blood as you find them in historical physical reality. It is just what we call the substance of Christ's body and blood. Now, what is a substance? Substance is whatever it is that makes a thing to be the kind of thing that it is, right? Like essence. How do I know the difference between my dog and a cat? And how do I know that a dog is a dog and a cat is a cat? Well, a dog has a dog substance, a dog's essence, and a cat has a cat essence, right? There are a lot of accidental features to my dog that you could take away and he'd still be a dog. My dog is yellow. I could paint him green, he'd still be a dog. He's got 4 legs. He could lose one in an accident, he'd still be a dog. I could begin to sort of take away these qualitative features, and yet his underlying dogginess would still be there. Well, the Catholic position is that you take away literally all the qualifying properties, and you're left only with the underlying body and bloodness, what we call substance of Christ's body and blood. Now, when we say that, the technical word here is accidents, it doesn't mean something that happens by accident. It means something that's not a substance, that rather inheres in a substance. We take away these qualitative aspects, these properties. We even take away something like quantity. So, quantity is a very basic category when you're talking about materiality. It's, I weigh, so many pounds. I'm so many feet tall. I take up so many, cubic inches of space. Even that is taken away. So, I don't know if Jesus was like, let's say he's 5'8", 160 pounds. I'm just guessing here. The Eucharist is not 5'8" and 160 pounds. Mm-hmm. Well, what comes with quantity also is divisibility. All right, so, I can take a 5'8" person, like the stage magician, and chop him in half. But if I chop the sacred host, the consecrated host, in half, Catholic faith teaches I'm not chopping Jesus in half. I don't have his legs and, lower torso in one half and his upper torso in another. No, I still have all of Christ's body and blood present in each distinct particle of the host. So it's a mode very unlike the normal mode. And in fact, this serves faith because I don't have any sensible, that is to say, that I can sense with my 5 senses, access to the presence of Christ in the Eucharist. I hold the presence of Christ only by faith. It's only by faith that I know that it's there, not through any kind of sensible contact. And this is necessary because if Christ were present in the normal mode, then our communion in Christ would be cannibalism. And it would entail the death of Jesus. We would be breaking Jesus, we'd be chewing Jesus, we'd be dividing Jesus, and none of those things pertain. He's present in his glorious humanity, also seated at the right hand of God the Father, dies only once on Calvary, never dies again. This way, through this transubstantiated special mode of presence, all the people of God throughout the world can forever partake in a sacramental mode of Christ's body and blood without ever doing violence to his sacred and divine person, right?
Yep.
Now, what do the Lutherans teach? They teach that bread and wine remain. Catholics don't believe that. We think that there's no bread and wine there, merely the properties of bread and wine. Lutherans teach that the bread and wine remain, and you get the body and blood of Christ. Now, Luther was adamant in denying the doctrine of transubstantiation. He did not believe the Catholic doctrine of transubstantiation. He believed in a theory that later Lutherans called consubstantiation. And therefore, he does not give a rational account of why I don't taste bread and meat. Right? If on the Lutheran view, like there really is bread there, and there's Christ's body there, that's the Lutheran view. And because Luther rejects transubstantiation, he doesn't give a good answer to the why don't I also taste meat? Why doesn't this taste like a ham sandwich? He doesn't really answer the question. I mean, the bread part's easy, because Luther says there's bread there. But he doesn't really give an account of the mode of Christ's body and blood in a way like the Catholics do that specifically denies the presence of the accidents of body and blood. We deny the accidents, we affirm the substance.
Appreciate your call. Thanks so much for it. It's called To Communion with Dr. David Anders here on EWTN.
It's worth adding that from a Catholic point of view, Lutherans don't actually have the body and blood of Christ. They think they do, but they don't have ordained clergy. They don't have apostolic succession. They don't have holy orders. They don't have valid priests, so they can't confect the real presence of Christ.
Quite a difference there. Tom Price.